I want to do a quick rapid fire round here. I want each of you to tell me your favorite myth, fairy tale, or legend and why. And I'm going to shake up the order too. Karen.
I had to think about this a lot. I'm a real fan of the Arthurian legends. I mean, a female Lancelot. What a great idea. Um, because the Arthurians, they're populated by stock characters who go into different stories and observe different things that are happening in perhaps the more real world. So you get the pure knight, and that's the character that moves through these stories. Um, and so flipping some of those scripts, what if the knight's not pure? What if the innocent maiden isn't quite so much? And I just the potential there is so rich. And I was really struck by Mad Max Fury Road for those who saw it, because I thought finally we see Mad Max as an Arthur character in the life of someone else, because he's not the protagonist of the story. You know, a woman is. So I liked that as just a sort of a flip of that Arthurian stock character. Being a witness to someone else's story. So I just think there's so much to work with there.
I now desperately need one of my composition students to write that essay, right? Mad Max as Arthurian legend. You just blew my mind. Uh, Barbara.
I like tricksters, any sort of mythology that has a trickster in it, because
I am so surprised.
Are you? Me too. No, because they buck the status quo. They often take on forms like spiders, which are sort of shunned by everybody else. And I really like, and oftentimes they're on the side of humanity rather than on the side of the gods. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But I really like that one when you have the myth or the legend or whatever cruising along and you have the characters you're used to, and then somebody rolls the apple of discord into the middle of it. I think that's great.
I hope someone's taking notes about all the great lines that are being said here. NE.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick just one, that's very difficult in itself. But I think I also kind of love the Greek mythology, and as a young person, I just always really had a major crush on Artemis, the story of Artemis, because she is just pretty much a queer inspiration. Like, she's just a badass, powerful huntress who basically shoots anyone and kills anyone who tries to rape her. And she has this posse of women who love her, and she defends them. And I know there's some problematic stories in there too, but she was very cool, and I'll have to say her for now.
And a very nice dog, I'm sure. Anne.
I like the stories where the princess gets knocked down off of her throne and has to fight her way back. She has to take away that idea of what she thought her life was going to be and have to try and restructure it in order to find a way to get back to where she was. And then when she does, she realizes it's not all that it's cracked up to be and changes need to be made. So I love stories like that. Just that twist where the princess is the hero and not so much the prince coming to save her. She has to save herself.
Me too. Bray.
That was probably one of the hardest questions I think I've ever been asked on a panel.
I'm glad I left you for last then. You're welcome. That was
yeah, thank you. I still haven't come up with a really good answer, but thanks. There are so many amazing myths and fairy tales, and I think I'm an underdog fan. So I like the ones where they have to, like Anne was saying, they have to kind of come back from something. So like the myth of Sisyphus, who's supposed to roll this rock uphill for all eternity as a punishment, but he keeps figuring out how to trick the gods so that he doesn't have to do that, and he just like throws his hands up and walks away. And like, what are you going to do if I refuse to roll the rock up the hill anymore? So I like that kind of thing, but I like the new brand of retellings that we're seeing come out mainstream. So like the most recent was Raya and the Last Dragon, and she's a princess, and you know, she's just out there kicking ass. There's no prince involved. She's just out to get her land back. I love that. I love the idea of these princesses who don't care about the marriage. It's about much bigger, more intense things. And I think that's just amazing.
And such a cute movie. I loved that movie. It was like the
Yeah.
highlight of, you know, whenever that came out.
Of the pandemic.
The
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, that's the word.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to dovetail off that a little bit. Most of these stories are originated either to explain some aspect of our world or as a teaching tool. What do you think that in that light, you know, we can learn from some of these retellings today? And you touched on that a little bit, Bray, but if you want to add more, I will let you go first.
Awesome. Thanks. Sorry, Anna, can you repeat the question?
Well, you
Really
know,
late here. I'm gonna go with really late.
okay, that is fair.
Okay.
These stories are often used as teaching tools or to explain some aspect of our world that doesn't make sense to us. So what do you think, sort of in that light, we can learn from retellings today? Do you think that they can, you know, explain parts of the world, or, you know, we talked a little bit about how, you know, the lessons they can give our youth in terms of like it's okay to be gay and all that, but is there more, you know, what else can we learn?
Awesome. Thank you very much. So much. I think that's one of the purviews of science fiction and fantasy speculative fiction, is that we get to add in loads of really heavy stuff in ways that don't feel preachy, which is awesome. Kind of this subliminal, I'm going to show you the world and everything we need to fix, using really cool queer characters. So, I mean, in Changing Course, I took on kind of the mythology of a planet, but used our social systems and inequality. In Spinning Tales, it was very much about religion and belief and destiny and what it means to have free will and what you do with that. And so, you know, you're able to take on things that matter, things that are important to you, feminism and queerness, and you can play with them in such a way that's fun and yet sinks in. So yeah, I think it's a brilliant way to keep lessons out there and keep them going, especially as the world changes.
Yes, that was very well said. Thank you. Anne.
I think it can show us, or show readers or young people, that it's okay to dream. It's okay to see yourself in a different light. I think it helps to drive creativity and drive, because I've noticed that a lot of the young kids today aren't imaginative as generations prior. I don't know if it's the video games. I don't know if it's just, I don't know, but imagination is so important to a young person, whether they're queer or not. Imagination is what, you know, makes your life a little more exciting. Makes you see the world in a different way. And I think queer retellings can help do that. It can help bring, you know, kind of feed the imagination and give them permission to see themselves in a different light, and just, I guess, play with the imagination. I'm big on romance and imagination, so queer retellings kind of, you know, is my thing.
Well, I can now imagine things about Barbara's curtains that I wish I couldn't. So there might also be something to be said. Barbara. Besides
I don't have any
spiders.
curtains now, so is there anybody, you know, you're safe to come and visit. No curtains. I think that myths teach us, retelling myths teach us to bend a little, to expand your perspective a little. So it's like if a person is having trouble taking in the world at large, seeing something like a retold myth, it's like, here's something familiar, but bend just a little, it's like open your perspective just a bit. And when I wrote Coils and I retold the Medusa myth, I wanted to make the Greek characters in this day and age and show that they have to be adaptable or they just fade out of existence. And so that ended up being a whole theme that I think is applicable to myth too now, that it's like how the world views myth rather, is that you have to adapt, or you're just going to be left behind. And I think that's a good place to start.